I'm Feline. I'm going to be doing a demo of how to pack a bisque firing. A bisque firing is firing the raw clay, which is dry, up to 1,000 degrees before it's glazed and fire in the glaze firing. Before you start packing, you need to think about the position of the kiln props. You must always have 3 props for each shelf. So in this kiln, we're using 2 shelves, one at the front and one at the back. There's different size kiln props. We're having quite big work at the bottom. So there's different ways of positioning the props, and you must keep the same right throughout the kiln. If you position the props like this, you can have something large like a plate in the middle, but you need to think about the positioning of the pyrometric cone. Because we're only having 2 shelves, we can position them like this. Alternatively, they can be positioned like this. Bisque firing, one of the main differences to the glaze firing is that the pieces can touch. Because they haven't got a glazed surface, they're not going to stick together. Pieces need to be completely, or as dry as they can be before they go in, so you need to think about the thickness of the work as well. Obviously thicker work will hold the moisture longer than very thin work. Now we've filled up the back shelf at the bottom, we can put on the next level. And we do this before filling up the front so that when you're leaning over you don't knock any of the work. The kiln shelves can be quite heavy, so make sure you pick them up correctly and don't bend your back. Make sure you get the shelf positioned properly so that it's not wobbly with the props. Okay, next we're going to pack this shelf that we've just put in, again so that we're not going to be reaching over work at the bottom. Because this is going to be our top shelf in this kiln, we don't need to put any props. But if we're putting more shelves in, we'd follow exactly where we'd put the previous props. They could be a different height, but they have to be in the same positions. A bisque kiln can be packed really as tightly as you can. For this demonstration, it's not packed very tightly, but things can be stacked to save on space. So yeah, the pieces can be as tight or as touching, but you need to make sure things aren't touching any of the sides of the kilns or the elements. So this is kind of wasted space, really. If this was a real bisque, it would need to be stacked and packed a lot better. So again, just check the shelf is stable on the props. So this is the pyrometric cone 06, which will flux and bend at 1,000 degrees. This has been set last night, so the clay has dried out. This is just a small bit of kiln shelf. When putting the pyrometric cone in the kiln, we've set it at the right angle, so we know this is set right, and the number is only printed on one side, and that needs to be facing forwards. Before shutting the kiln and turning it on, we need to check that we can actually see that through the hole. Okay, so when your kiln is all packed and you've set your pyrometric cone, you can get either a technician or a kiln advisor to check the packing and also the programming on the microprocessor.